Well, hello, welcome Niles community. I'm Dr. Dan Applegate, Superintendent of Niles Community Schools. I am joined here today with Donna Roark, Assistant Superintendent of Personnel and Curriculum. And this is a new installment here that we're trying to do on our new YouTube video channel called Viking Voices. Every week, what I want to do, or bi-weekly, I want to have conversations with leaders of our school system to provide regular updates, because we've got a long road ahead of us, and before we can reopen schools, and things seem to change daily and weekly. And so we want to make sure that the community, our school community, our staff, our teachers, our families, and everyone is up to date as much as possible. And so today I have Donna with me. She's one of the most important people that we have in the district. As I mentioned, she's over personnel and our curriculum, and those are key pieces of getting school up and running. And so Donna, if you don't mind, take a few minutes to introduce yourself.
Good morning, Viking families and staff. My job in the school district is to basically oversee the curriculum department, personnel department, and make sure that we are providing the best of those two things to all of our families and the community, and to really build the curriculum the way that we feel best meets the needs of our community.
Well, when I told a lot of people that you were going to be on a YouTube channel, you were my first guest. They were all excited. They came up with some questions to ask. And so if that's okay, we'll get started right with the questions that I was asked. First one, what was your middle name?
So my middle name is unknown at this time.
Okay.
So once we have one established, I will let you know.
All right. Well, that was from Michelle Asmus. So you could, that's where that. But Donna, seriously though, the 2019-2020 school year obviously was a year like no other. Closing in March, I mean, that was unbelievable. We had one day to prepare for that. We closed immediately, and it took a while. As I tell everybody, all the fingers that the school system touches out in the community and the families, and the impact that it had on school closing really wasn't known until you close. And so once we found that out, I know you worked with our teachers, you worked with our administrators, Dr. Ann Bingham, our curriculum director, to put together what we could very quickly, a continuity of learning plan during that time. And I know I'll probably ask some questions about that. But if you don't mind, can you kind of bring our listeners up to speed a little bit on all the changes that occurred at that time, or some of the changes that occurred at the time?
Absolutely. So kudos goes out to our staff, all staff, our teachers, our instructional assistants, our administrators, everyone, and especially to Ann Bingham, our director of curriculum, Dr. Bingham, because we really were able to, with such short notice, put together some high quality learning and really continue at the rigor that we expect of that we want for our students and our families. And we really took a look, and Bingham works with our teachers throughout the year in her curriculum teams. She works with her PLC facilitators, and they do something called powering standards. So we really have set the stage already for what standards and what curriculum we want all students to know and be able to do. And with that system already in place, we were able to get our kiddos up and running with the remote learning. We took a look at what standards, what assessments, what grading looks like, and constant meeting with the teachers and revising and really keeping up that rigor of the learning with the students. We had one-on-one time for them, because we know many of our kiddos, we're still in need of that extra, and that's where some of our instructional assistants jumped in. And the system really, we just kept working at it and improving it as we went along.
Well, I also know, Don, there's a lot of work that went ahead of time. I know you and Ann and the teachers and the administrators have been working in the curriculum department for many, many years since I've been here, putting together a 7-year plan. And you've been doing that. And so we've been doing ongoing professional development with curriculum. But power standards, you mentioned power standards. And how did that kind of work with power standards? What are power standards, so the families know? And how did that work ahead of time help us make this transition during COVID closing?
Absolutely. So we always look at our 4 learning questions, what we call our professional learning community questions, and is what do we want all students to know and be able to do? Well, when you look at the standards, the Michigan standards, the Common Core standards, there are many that a teacher would be expected and a student to teach and a student to be able to learn within a school year. So what are the standards that are really those that we believe that all students in depth and with rigor should know and be able to do. And then what we do is what Anne does with the curriculum teams in this cycle is what we call powering. And so that is taking those essential standards, and she builds those into what all students should know and be able to do within our system.
And so with the powering standards, really what we have there is, I would say, these are the essential standards that our students absolutely have to know. And we have our expert teachers, our expert curriculum director looking at those and saying, yes, these are the ones. But I also know you brought in other teachers like K through 12, so that the second grade teachers knew what the first grade teachers felt were essential, because they're saying, hey, those kids are coming to us, so we need to know what's essential. We believe this is essential. So you had a lot of conversations across grade levels, within grade levels, in order to identify those power standards. And so when we shifted as community schools to those, it was nice that those teachers could look at those power standards and say, hey, I know the kids are going to be out of school, so we really have to prioritize which standards we're going to teach during this time remotely, which isn't ideal because we want our students in person, but which one of those standards. And I know a lot of that work that went ahead of time was able to make that transition a little easier. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
And I also know the assessments, during the time, during the COVID time, there was, the assessments were pieces that were based on those power standards so that we understood where students were. Is that fair to say too?
And so we align those assessments because that part of that system is aligning what's being taught in the classroom with what's being assessed.
And so I know also in talking with you that with those assessments, that gives us a better idea with those essential standards being taught and the students turning those in. We were able to know where students are and where should they be advanced to the next grade level coming up this fall. And so we were able to do that and use those assessments, and we'll do some additional assessments in the fall. We can talk about that in a second here. But is there anything else about that transition into our school closure that teachers were doing, assist students while they were at home?
Absolutely. So they continued to meet as teams. So if you were in elementary, you were meeting, say, for example, if you're a third grade teacher, you were still continuing to meet with the third grade teachers across the district as we focused on that learning. And so they made sure that everyone that all their students continue to get those essential learning and really to coordinate some of that teaching that was going on. And at secondary, they continue to meet in their content level teams so that they could push that out as well. And then we as a district continue to provide them some professional development on how does remote learning look? How does teaching, in this new system. Now, some teachers may have had experience with this already within their classrooms because we have used some of the platforms already, but it was really helping each other adjust to that.
Can we talk a little bit about that remote learning? Because you're right. I see teachers in here all the time, the administrative building, going through professional development. I mean, it is constant. Teachers are always, getting better at their craft and looking to build their capacity on their own, but also with the district provided professional development. And I know next year, in case we have to go to remote, which I don't want to get too far ahead of us of what we're doing in the fall, but just in case we had to go to remote, what additional programming or professional development or things are in place to help us? Because I know it's not going to look like it did in the fall when it was just a stopgap emergency. School is closed tomorrow. You're at home. The families, unfortunately, are dealing with that. The community is dealing with that. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it's the best. We did our best, but we know it's not the best, and we've had time to plan. So what changes will be in place for the fall?
So what's wonderful is some surveys were done with teachers as well as families, students in the secondary as well, to see how that remote learning went and what the feedback. Anne is taking that feedback, and then we are together as a department looking at that and then seeing what we need to move forward, what types of training. We are putting together some things like facilitators for technology, some ed tech facilitators, so that we can have that assistance at building, and teachers will have even more of that support level to reach out to when they need some maybe just assistance with how can I increase my teaching and learning through the technology piece.
Yeah, I was impressed with some of I shouldn't say some. So many of our teachers were already using some of this technology ahead of time, and to make that transition to the remote learning for some of them was pretty easy. And so those are some of the teachers that you're utilizing now to be what you call the
Ed tech facilitator.
ed tech facilitators. So those are some of those teachers. Again, and some of them are veteran teachers. A lot of times you think when you get to be my age, you don't stay up with the technology, but some of our veteran teachers really haven't done that. So it's nice to have that support for all of our teachers, and that's some additional professional development that'll be coming.
It is. So there is this summer, or I shouldn't say this summer, next month already. Anne has lined up tons of professional development for our teachers. And what's really nice is it meets the needs of each teacher. So if it's something that you need further development on, you attend this. For example, some of our elementary platforms, we use the materials we use in English language arts is Pearson. They are available online. They have some components that teachers can use, students, parents. So we want to make sure that that professional development is provided if that's the area that you are in need of, or maybe it's just simply learning how to enhance how you use your device for that teaching and learning. So all of that is coming for our teachers. And I will tell you, our teachers, I have to continually give them the credit because they jumped into this. They are doing a lot of this, as they continually do during the school year anyway, with our kiddos, and jumping into take it to the next level and the next step to continue providing that instruction, that high quality instruction to our kiddos.
And one of the things we've talked about is, that's on our side, but we also need to do some training with the students and some professional development for our parents. And so I've been trying to work with different professional organizations and legislators to say, can you waive some time this fall so we can bring our parents in with our students and count that as instructional time so the school district doesn't lose funding, and so that our parents can come in during the day, maybe even evening hours, and learn some of these platforms, because I know that got a little confusing. Again, trying to use what we already were using and quickly push that out into the homes for some parents was very frustrating because they had multiple platforms. But now we're going to one platform, providing all this professional development on it to make that transition easier. But now we really need to bring in the parents and help them understand on that back end what like a Google Classroom works, but also the students as well, especially the secondary level. So do we have any plans for that?
I believe that's being developed at this time. I know that we were, again, looking at the survey results from our parents and then using that results to see what pieces that we can provide parents. And these and with working with those ed tech facilitators, we're thinking that could be a piece as well, because we really are, our teachers have the capacity to do this. They already had it in them, and why not go directly to the experts to help their families?
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, looking at the survey, we had around 800 surveys come back, I believe. So we got a lot of good feedback. I think that what I was talking about, the parent help at home, some of that was that feedback that came from those surveys. And we also asked parents about how safe they felt. We asked them, do you plan on returning? And a lot of parents were saying, well, we want to, but we really want to know what it looks like. What will school look like? And we want to know, and that also has to do with, well, where are we with COVID-19 cases in the county and the community? So I know we're going to work very closely with Berrien County Health Department in making our decisions, and we are now. But how will some of the things look a little different in the fall relative to what instructional options are available?
So in the fall, a little bit different, because really when we went into the teaching and learning in the spring, it was kind of in what the state had called our continuity of learning plan. It was just something that we really had to put together quite quickly. And so now that we have the time to really think about and take that feedback from what that looked like, we really want to match it more to those essential standards, with those power standards, to what our teachers would know as scales. And maybe many parents already hear their children talk about scales at home and knowing those levels of learning that are there. So what it would look like is a lot of that technology pieces and that remote learning will be happening already in the classroom when we have that in-person learning. So our goal is really to plan that in-person learning, to offer parents those two options, that in-person learning and our virtual Vikings.
I really like that. Like you said, if the teachers are already using those platforms on a daily basis, if you have a student who might have to be quarantined or the teacher might have to be quarantined. That instruction can continue because the platform that students are already used to is available. Kind of very similar to the Echo platform that's already used in Niles New Tech. So I think that's exciting. Also, I know that we talked about this, hybrid program. And that's something the Marion County health officials have said, don't do that. And that's the every other day or 2 days a week. And I know we got guidance not to do that. So you mentioned we have two options. We have our in-person option, which is traditional school, which we know what we're doing, and we want to continue. We want the kids in front of us. We know that's best for the families and the students and the community. But we do also know that we have a really, really good, strong virtual campus that we've already had in place for many students who in-person instruction just didn't work for them. And so we've had a lot of success. Thousands of students have gone through that virtual school. And my understanding is there's some new virtual programming, maybe at the building level next year, that's going to look a little different. Can you tell us more about that?
So what we would like to do is offer our what we're calling our virtual Vikings. Okay. So this gives the feeling that you are still part, and you are still part of Niles Community Schools, but actually closer and tied to the building for which your child is enrolled. So for example, if you were a parent with a child at Ballard, you would be a Ballard virtual school participant. So the instruction would happen online, but you would still be connected to your building, maybe through, if there's events going on, dress up days, those types of things that are happening within the school, so that your child still feels that comfort and that belonging, and you as well as a family are still connected not only to the district, but to the school in which your child belongs in that connection with that teacher. So there's a couple of levels to that, so that, you would still have that connection. Maybe you would hear from the instruction is coming virtually, but you would have some connections with teachers and mentors along the way as well, touching base with you. And
I really like that. So if I'm a Howard Ellis third grade teacher, and I'm in a classroom, and I can stay connected and attend Howard Ellis's virtual school rather than the Niles Community School virtual school, and I'll still stay. My parents can still be on a parent-teacher organization. We can still get regular communication, and then when I'm ready, or the parents are ready to bring the child back, they would already have a classroom teacher and a spot in that classroom.
Absolutely. And then you can, so you have that option then of coming back at the semester break. And with that, then, you've still kept that connection going. So that transition for both you and your child, we want to make that as easy as possible for you.
Okay. Yeah, you submitted that to me. I was looking at that, and so I'm getting ready to get some information out to parents. So we'll have that and contact information so people know how to enroll into that. And then we'll probably send out a survey at some point to ask which parents are going to come in person and might virtual. Of course, that's going to change all day. I'll tell you, we'll figure it out. I want a plan. We'll put together a plan. We'll give it to the parents. We'll give it to the community so they know what we're planning for, and then we will adjust when we get our students. And I'm looking forward to having students walk through our halls again. But before that happens, we talked about what happened back in March, and we're talking about what's coming in the fall. But there's a lot of things going on in the summer. I know you're providing some summer tutoring and some summer pop-up libraries. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's the most exciting part that's happening, because we are still able to keep some of those pieces going this summer, even with all of the social distancing and making those adjustments as needed, so that we can continue some of those great programs we've been running. So in the past 2 years, we've had what we've called pop-up libraries. So this year we're doing drive-up libraries, and we've partnered with our Meetup and Eat Up food services during the summer, as well as the United Way of Southwest Michigan. And we are our kindergarten through 5th grade students. We have books ready for you at your level. You can just come drive through, paired with the food service at the high school, or Ballard in the evening. We have one on next Tuesday, as a matter of fact, the 21st, another one on August 4th. We've already had just one, and we already passed out about 500 books. And when you pick up the books, and it's the same program as years past, the students are able to keep those books, and it's right at their level to help continue that progress and keep up your skills during the summer. We also continue to do our home visits this summer, but we tweaked it a little and are calling it book fairies. So our kindergarten through 2nd grade students who just need a little bit extra boost are at Promise kiddos. We have about 129 students who received 2 books from our book fairies this week on their porch or dropped off at their house. And so that was really exciting. Our high school continues to do their credit recovery. And then we offered a virtual summer school this year for some of our KA students. We have about 83 students enrolled. This is really exciting because it's not something we've offered in the past, but we thought that this would help our kindergarten through 8th grade students keep up not only on skills, but they are getting one-on-one tutoring with a teacher from the district. We have about a little over 80 students enrolled. I think I said that already. And they get about 3 hours a week of actual one-on-one time, either in English language arts or math with their teacher. So great stuff happening.
That is great stuff. I'll tell you, Donna, you organize so many things in the summer for our students. I want to say last year you put between 3,000 to 5,000 books out in the community, and they don't have to be Niles Community School students. They can be any student. You're just trying to build literacy. And so I think you're doing a wonderful job.
I have to say that, yep. The part of the drive-through libraries is anybody, any student. And it could even be a middle school student. It could be your little one that comes with you. And
just a minute, Donna. Okay, there we go.
There we go. It could be your little one that you're bringing along, and it could be, the cousin that you have in the car with you as well. Yeah. Everybody gets a book. Yes. Everybody gets books. And
we're paying for those by turning off the lights every once in a while, apparently. Saving energy. So, Donna, I just want to thank you for your time. I know we spent a lot of time on really curriculum, and in maybe in another episode, I might bring you back to talk more about some personnel things. But right now, I just want to appreciate your time, everything that you do. Donna Marie Roark, Assistant Superintendent of Niles Community Schools. Again, I want to thank you for being and taking the time, the update. And I truly mean this. Everyone does appreciate all that you do for staff and our teachers so that our students, like you said, can hit the expectations and meet our high standards that we have in Niles Community Schools, because our students deserve it. We've got great students. So thank you very much, Donna. And at this point, I just want to thank everyone else for listening. And I will continue to hold these bi-weekly Viking Voices. And I know one of the big questions coming up is, well, what is the school doing to mitigate some of the virus? What's the school doing to mitigate the virus in the school building itself? And so we'll be talking about that. We'll talk about masks and transportation and cleaning and all those type of things in our next interview. So thank you. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you again, Donna. In the meantime, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay connected. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.